So today I'm going to do the school days book tag. This tag was created by Victoria from What Victoria Read. I happen to think it's a really fun tag that I thought would be really great to do today. I will link Victoria's original video in the description below. I wasn't actually tagged by anyone to do this video, I just thought it looked like fun, so that's what I'm going to do. So the way this tag works is that the first part is based around the times of the day throughout the school day, and then the second part is based around the different subjects that you can do at school, and you basically pick and choose the subjects that you want to do. So you do all the times, but then you pick your subjects. So I have decided to pick the subjects that are the core subjects of the curriculum because I'm a primary school teacher, which makes me a generalist. So I teach maths, English, geography, history, science, but a lot of primary schools in Australia have specialist subjects where the children go to a different teacher and learn that subject. So those subjects encompass PE, music, art, drama, potentially religious studies, which is one of these subjects Victoria has put in here. So I won't be doing any of those that are specialist subjects. I will be doing generalist core subjects because as a primary school teacher, I'm a generalist teacher. So let's get going. So the first question is First Bell. Tell us about the book that first got you into reading. So I actually have two answers for this one. The first one is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe because my parents are big readers and they read the Chronicles of Narnia to my sisters and I when we were very, very young. That book got me into listening to stories, enjoying the concept of reading. And then the other book that I have put down is a series called the Teddy Joe series, which is written by a woman called Hilda Stahl. These are middle grade Christian contemporary stories. When I found them, I was a reader in general and I loved stories and being read to, but when I found this series of books, they were the ones that made me really love reading to myself, and I would spend hours and hours and hours just hiding away and reading these books. So that's the answers to that question. I've got my computer down here in case you're wondering why I keep looking down. Alright, so break time. Which book have you most recently had to take a break from or DNF? I'm not 100% sure when I'm going to put this video up, but my mid-February wrap-up, which will have been put up at some point before this, I talked about this book then. So if you want more information about why I DNF'd it, then go ahead and watch that video. But anyway, it is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I don't know that I've put it down 100% definitely forever, but definitely not. It's not working for me at the moment, so there's that one.
Hey guys, editing Mel here. So this next question, the entire section in which I answered it, it was totally out of focus. So I just thought I would jump in quickly and refilm it for you. So I am up to lunchtime, and the question for that is, tell us your favourite book that features food. So for this one, I've actually chosen a kid's picture book, and that is Possum Magic, written by Mem Fox and illustrated by Julie Vivas. This was one of my favourite books to read when I was a kid, or to have read to me when I was a kid, and it is one of my favourite books to read to kids. I think that it's just absolutely fantastic. It's such a clever, fun story. The pictures are beautiful. So, how does this feature food? Well, we have two possums. We have a Grandma Poss and her granddaughter Hush, and Grandma Poss does a bush magic spell to make Hush invisible. But as Hush grows up, she realizes she doesn't want to be invisible, but Grandma Poss doesn't have any spell to turn Poss back to visible again. So while she is hunting around to find the answer, she figures out that it's got something to do with human food. So Grandma Poss and Hush go on a giant adventure, travelling around Australia looking for the answers, and they try a bunch of different human food in a bunch of different cities around Australia. And it turns out that the 3 different foods that help Hush to turn visible again are 3 very iconic Australian foods. So the first one is Vegemite toast, then there is Lamingtons, and finally Pavlova. And it's just a really fun little book, and kids really love it, and yeah, you can't go wrong with Pass and Magic, particularly if you happen to be Australian. So that's the answer to that question for you. Sorry it's all wobbly this time though. Trying to do it on the computer. Anyway, back to the original video.
Final bell. Which book have you most recently finished reading? So this one is The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. Absolutely, hands down, one of my favourite books now that I've read probably ever. Definitely one of my favourite books of the year. If you heard that little clapping noise, that was Rowan in the background very excitedly clapping because it is one of his favourite books of all time. So there you go. And he told me to read that book in 2015. So I got there eventually. So homework. What was the last non-fiction book that you read and enjoyed? And for this one, I have said Becoming by Michelle Obama, which is her memoir. A lot of it is about when Obama was president, but it's all about her life before that as well. And it's just really interesting. I listened to the audiobook and I listened which Michelle Obama narrates herself, and that was really cool. So there you go. Staff room. Tell us about a book that you go to when you need to take a breath. So I have not actually selected any books for this one. Not that I don't have old favourites that I go to when I'm in that kind of mood, but generally speaking, when I really need some downtime or when I'm feeling sick or I'm just feeling really down, then I usually watch something. I have really two main fallbacks for that. One is Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the other is The Gilmore Girls. There's also Firefly if I'm not in the mood for either of those two, but usually it's one of those two. Alright, so now moving into the subjects. So I will be doing English, Maths, Science, Geography and History. Alright, English. Tell us about one book you studied at school and recommend one book that you would like to add to the curriculum. One of the books that I read at school, in high school, that I really, really enjoyed and sparked my ongoing love for Jane Austen is Emma. Books to add to the curriculum. That's a little bit of a tricky one because, again, being a primary school teacher, there aren't any specific books that we are supposed to use in our classrooms. So I don't have any books that I would add to the curriculum that kids are expected to read as part of their work. But I just really think that it would be really great for primary schools in general, but in Australia in particular, to get some more diverse books. So there are loads of really great middle grade and young adult that deal with LGBTQA+ topics. There are lots of really great middle grade and young adult books that are written by Australian Aboriginal people, written by BIPOC people. And yeah, I think that it would just be really great for those to be in the libraries. I've got a couple in mind that I think that I would really love to read with a class myself. So one is Pet, and I can't remember who that's by. I should have looked it up, but it'll be here somewhere so you can see who it's by. I've not actually read Pet, but I've heard some amazing things about it. It's written by a black author. The main character is a young black girl, and I believe that she is asexual as well. So there's a lot of representation, and it also just sounds like a really fun story. And the other one is, now I can't even remember the name of the book, so I will put that somewhere here. It's a book that I read a few months ago by Anita Heiss, and it is about a young Australian Aboriginal girl, I think in the 40s or 50s, taken from her family and initially put into a young people's home and then placed with a white family. And it's just really actually quite hard going, but it has a lot of information about the stolen generation and about what it was like to be in that situation. So I think that would be a really great thing for children to read. Alright, so maths. How do you rate your books? I use the Core Pile system, which is a rating system that was created by G from Books Roast. I will link her channel in the description below if you'd like to go and check her out. She has very kindly created a spreadsheet that includes a bunch of different formulas. I don't understand, but you can download it, you can use it to track all of your reading and stuff, which I think is pretty amazing. And she has created this rating system whereby it's core pile, because those are the It's an anagram? Is that the word I'm looking for? Losing all my words today.
It's an acronym.
Acronym. Thank you. Rowan has just helpfully let me know that it's an acronym, which I did know, but brain. Anyway, so it's an acronym. So we have character, action, writing, plot, logic, which is the internal logic of the book, intrigue, logic, and enjoyment. And I find that really works really well for me, and I really enjoy using that. So yeah. Okay, so the next one is science, and it is which book couple do you think has the best chemistry? I've got two answers to this one as well. So just going off pure sexual energy chemistry, I have said Hunt and Bryce from Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. But going off of more of a romantic connection and a mental and emotional connection, I have said Leon and Tiffy from The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. Geography. Describe a book that had a strong sense of place or a great world building. This was really tricky for me because I read a lot of high fantasy, which usually needs a lot of world building because it's not set in our world, so you need to have a real picture of the world. But I've decided to go for the Lord of the Rings because it is the kind of grandfather of modern fantasy, modern high fantasy. Tolkien put in so much effort into the creation of his world. He made up languages. He just put in so much thought and creativity into the world, into the history, into the language, into the cultures, and I think that that's completely amazing. And yeah, so I just think Lord of the Rings. And finally, history. Which 3 historical fiction novels have you most enjoyed? And if you don't read historical fiction, which areas of history would you like to learn more about? So my 3, one is kind of cheating a little bit because it is a whole series. So it's the Mary Russell series by Laurie King, which is a historical mystery series that is sort of a retelling of the Sherlock Holmes stories. So it's set in late Victorian era. Absolutely amazing writing, fantastic series. Then I have The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. So this is a story that is set in the Second World War in Germany, and it is about a young girl who is orphaned and is sent to live with another family, and a bunch of different stuff happens, and yeah, it's really great, it's really well written, it's really interesting. My favourite thing about that book is that the narrator is deaf, which I think is actually a really interesting way of exploring World War II and the world in general. And then finally I have the book Home by Larissa Brent. So this is another book similar to the one that I talked about before, where we follow a young Aboriginal woman in the early 20th century who is taken from her Aboriginal family and placed in service in a white family. Usually when this happened, the child was either given to a white family to raise as their own and as white, or given to a white family to work in service, and it very much depended on the colour of their skin and therefore how much they potentially could pass as white. Yeah, so this book is about a woman who was put into service, and it's just about what happened to her as a result of that, and then how that affected her life, but also the lives of her children and her family, and how it has that knock-on effect. Yeah, so that's a really interesting book, and it does go up to present day, but it's definitely well, actually I don't think that's true. No, yes it does, because it follows the generations. But anyway, it's definitely historical fiction because it starts in the early 1900s. That's it from the tag from me today. I really enjoyed this tag. I thought it was really fun and really interesting. I really liked the way that Victoria had it as kind of you choose which different areas you want to talk about, which I thought was really fun. So thank you, Victoria, for creating a really fun tag. And I'm now going to tag a few people. I'm going to tag Robbie from And His Nose Stuck in a Book. Who else am I going to tag? Ellie from Earl Grey Books. And I am going to tag Cece's Reading Journey. Guys, you are tagged. If there's anyone else who would like to do this tag video that I haven't tagged, then consider this a tag for you as well. Anyway, that's it for this video for today. Let me know what you would have said to these questions yourself, what you think of my answers, all of those things in the comment below. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time.